Hello everyone. We are going to start with our another chapter, which is chapter 4, and the chapter name is the transmission media. So in this chapter, we are going to talk about the various types of transmission media, the guided transmission media, and the unguided transmission media. I have divided this lecture into two parts. In the first part, I am going to talk about guided transmission media, and in the second part, I am going to talk about unguided transmission media. So what are we going to learn in this chapter? We are going to learn about the physical characteristics of the guided transmission media, for example, twisted pair cables, coaxial pair cables, optical fiber cables, and then we are going to talk about the principle of operation of the parabolic antenna and what are the different types of the unguided transmission media. So let's start with this. Let's start with our chapter. Alright, so what is a transmission media? So in the data transmission system, the transmission medium is the physical path between the transmitter and the receiver. So how does the communication occurs between the two parties, the sender and the receiver, that is done by the transmission medium. So transmission medium is something, a path which connects the sender and the receiver. Just like when you call your friend or when you send a message to your friend, there is some path which connects you and your friend. That is called as the transmission medium. It may be it's actually a physical path, but it may be a guided medium or it may be a unguided medium. Now what is the difference between two? We are going to learn in this chapter. So coming to the point, guided media and the unguided media. Guided media is guided along a solid medium. That means it is guided by a solid medium. Something has a physical thing which is connected, which is connecting the sender and the receiver, or the transmitter or the receiver. Whereas in unguided media is your atmosphere, space or water. That means there is no solid medium which is connecting the transmitter and the receiver. So unguided media is nothing but your atmosphere, outer space and water. The characteristics and quality of a data transmission are determined both by the characteristic of the medium and by characteristic of the signal. So characteristic of the medium as well as characteristic of the signal, both are important to determine the quality. Now for unguided media, in case of guided media, let's talk about guided media. Medium itself is more important. So in this case, medium itself is more important in determining the limitation of the transmission. Whereas in unguided media, the bandwidth of the signal produced by the transmitting antenna is more important than the medium in determining the transmission characteristics. But one key property, most important property of the signals transmitted by the antenna is directionally. That means antennas, they transmit the signals directionally, and in general signal at lower frequencies, they are omnidirectional. Omnidirectional means all the direction, bidirection means two direction, and uni means one direction. So signals at lower frequency, they are transmitted in omnidirectional. That means in all the directions, that is the signal propagates in all the directions from the antenna. But at higher frequencies, if the signal is transmitted at the higher frequency, it is possible to focus the signal into the directional beam. That means only into the one direction. Now, the main concerns for the medium are the data rate and the distance. Data rate and the distance are the key considerations in data transmission system and design. So, many number of design factors relating to the transmission medium, they determine the data rate and design. So continuing, what are the design factors that determine data rate and distance? We have learned in the last class, in the last chapter, what is data rate. So what are the design factors that determine on which the data rate and the distance depends? The first and the very important characteristic is the bandwidth. Bandwidth. All other factors remaining constant, higher the bandwidth gives higher the data rate. So if the bandwidth of a medium is higher, data rate is higher. So the bandwidth of a signal, the higher data rate can be achieved. Next is the transmission impairment. In the last chapter, we discussed some of the transmission impairments like attenuation, noise, crosstalk. So impairments such as attenuation, they limit the distance. So for guided media, twisted pair cable, they generally suffer more impairments than the coaxial cable. So coaxial cable, they suffer less transmission impairments. But coaxial cable suffers more transmission impairments than the optical fiber cable. So considering the four types of the guided media which are our cables, we have three types of cables: twisted pair cable, coaxial cable, and the optical fiber cable. Twisted pair cables, they suffer more impairments than the coaxial cable, and coaxial cable they suffer more impairments than the optical fiber cable. So that means we can say that optical fiber cables are the cables which suffer the less transmission impairments. The next point in this is interference. Now what is interference? Interference, as we know that there are many signals which are being propagated at the same time. So interference from the competing signal in the overlapping frequency band, it can change the shape of the signal, or it may completely wipe out a signal, or it may cancel a signal. So interference is very much concerned for guided media, but for unguided media, but it is also a problem for the guided media as well. So overlapping frequency bands can distort or completely wipe out a signal. That's why it's a key concern for data rate. It's a key concern factor. Then the last point is number of receiver. How many number of receivers? If we talk about guided medium, it can be used to construct a point-to-point link or a shared link with multiple attachments. And in the later case, each attachment introduces some attenuation and distortion. So in case of number of receivers, if there are more receivers, there will be more attenuation. So more attenuation will be experienced by the transmission medium. Now, transmission characteristics of the guided media. Some of the characteristics are given over here for the guided media. This is just for your reference. Now, what are the characteristics? The four characteristics that we are talking about is frequency range, attenuation, delay, and repeater spacing. So, for the twisted pair, we have two types of twisted pair cables with loading and multi-pair cables, and coaxial cable and optical fiber cable. So the frequency range of twisted pair cable is 0 to 3.5 kilohertz. Multi-pair cables is up to 1 megahertz. Coaxial is 500 megahertz, and optical fiber is from 186 to 370 terahertz. So you can see how much frequency range the optical fiber cables have. Now talking about the attenuation, twisted pair with loading cables, they experience 0.2 decibels per kilometer at the rate of 1 kilohertz. Multi-pair cables, they experience 0.7 decibel per kilometer, and the speed is the same, 1 kilohertz. Coaxial cable, they experience more attenuation. It's 7 decibels per kilometer, but it was as compared to this one. So 7 decibels per kilometer at the rate of 10 megahertz. It was 1 kilohertz. So they experience at every 1 kilohertz speed, they experience 0.7 decibels per kilometer attenuation. Whereas optical fiber cable, a very slight attenuation, 0.2 to 0.5 decibels per kilometer. So almost a negligible attenuation. Delay. Twisted pair with loading cables, they experience 50 microseconds per kilometer. Multi-pair cables 5 microseconds per kilometer, and coaxial 4 microseconds per kilometer, and optical fiber 5 microseconds per kilometer. Now the repeater spacing. Repeater spacing means after how much length of the cable the repeater has to be placed. So if you see in twisted pair cables, more repeaters are required. After every 2 kilometer, a repeater is required. Whereas in coaxial cable, from 1 to 9 kilometer, maybe we require a repeater after 1 kilometer or after 9 kilometer or after 5 kilometer. But in optical fiber cable, after 40 kilometer, a repeater is required. So one of the advantage of using the optical fiber cable is that less number of repeaters are required when we are using the optical fiber cable. Alright, going to the next. Now we are going to talk about the guided transmission media first. So this figure talks about the guided transmission media. These are the 3 guided transmission media that we commonly use in our communication. The first one is the twisted pair cable, second one is the coaxial cable, and third one is the optical fiber cable. However, in the next coming slides, we are going to talk about these cables in detail. So in this slide, we are just going to learn the characteristics of each cable. So the first one is the twisted pair cable. If you can see from the diagram, the cables inside the cables of the twisted pair cable, they are twisted with each other. So that's why it is called as the twisted pair cable. So they are separately insulated, they are twisted together, they are often bundled into cables, and they are usually installed in building during the construction. At the time of construction, they are installed. The second one is the coaxial cable. Now coaxial cable, if you see this outer, the thick lines, this is the outer conductor and it is a braided shield. Inner conductor, if you see the dotted lines, these are the inner conductors. This is the outer conductor over here. This one is the outer conductor. So sorry, this one is the outer conductor. So the outer conductor, this thick line, is a braided shield, and the inner conductor, if you see the smaller circle over here, this is the inner conductor and it's a solid metal. Now these are separated by the insulating material and it is covered by the padding. Next we come to the optical fiber cable. Optical fiber cable is made up of glass or a plastic core. The core inside the cable is made up of glass or a plastic, and it works on the principle of light. So it works on the laser or the light emitting diode principle. It has a specially designed jacket, which we call it as the outer covering. This is the jacket of the optical fiber cable. And the most important advantage is it's small in size and it's lighter in weight. So now we are going to discuss all these 3 transmission media in detail. So as you can see over here, this is a picture of the twisted pair cable. Now if you see, this outer covering is called as the insulator, or we call it as the outer jacket of the cable. When we cut this outer jacket of the cable, inside we have 8 cables which are twisted with each other. So we have 4 pairs of wire. If you see, you have 4 pairs. These are the 2 wires which are twisted with each other. These are 2 wires which are twisted with each other. Then 2 wires and then 2 wires. So these are the twisted pair cables. Normally we have 4 colors for a twisted pair cable. If you see from the figure, we have the orange, green, blue and brown. With orange, that other pair which is twisted is white orange. With green, the other pair which is twisted is white green. With blue, the other pair which is twisted is white blue. And with the brown, the other pair which is twisted is the white brown. So this is the outer jacket, this is the overall foil shield, and inside it we have a drain wire. These are the pair shield, these are the twisted pair cables, and this is the conductor. Conductor is made up of the metal part. Alright, so going ahead, now we are going to discuss about twisted pair cables in detail. So just to revise the concepts which we discussed in the previous slides, they are separately insulated, they are twisted together, they are bundled into cables and usually installed in the construction. So the least expensive and the most widely used guided transmission medium is the twisted pair cable. This is the least expensive and the most commonly used. Now, a twisted pair cable consists of two insulated copper wires which are arranged in a regular spiral pattern, and a wire pair, it acts as a single communication link. So number of these pairs, these are bundled together into a cable, and they are wrapped in a tough protective sheath. We call it as a jacket. If I go back to the slide, this is called as the jacket. So they are bundled together in a insulated sheet which is called as the jacket. For the longer distance, the cable may contain hundreds of pairs, and the twisting tends to decrease the crosstalk interference. The wires are twisted because so as to increase the crosstalk interference between the adjacent pairs of the cable. Neighboring pairs in a bundle, they have somewhat different twist lengths to reduce the crosstalk interference. So why these wires are twisted together? These wires are twisted together so as to minimize as possible the crosstalk interference. In the previous class, we have learned what is crosstalk interference. On long distance lengths, the twisting varies from 5 to 15 centimeter, and the wires in a pair have thickness from 0.4 to 0.9 mm. So these wires are as thick as 0.4 to 0.9 millimeter. Where are these used? What is the use of these twisted pair cables? So guided transmission medium is used both for analog and digital signals in the twisted pair, and most commonly used medium in the telephone network. So twisted pair cables are the most commonly used in telephone network and in the workhorse for the communication within the building. So these are used within the buildings. In the telephone system, individual residential telephone sets are connected to the local telephone exchange or the end office by the twisted pair. So your phone is connected to the local telephone exchange or to the end office by the twisted pair. But now these have been changed. These have been replaced by optical fiber cables. Twisted pair cables, they are used but not so commonly now. These are referred to as subscriber loops, and within an office building, each telephone is also connected to the twisted pair. The most important advantage of using the twisted pair cable is they are cheaper as compared to the optical fiber cable. Optical fiber cables are quite expensive. The twisted pair installations are designed to support the voice traffic using the analog signaling, and by means of a modem, these facilities can handle the digital data traffic also. Next, twisted pair cables, they are also used in Ethernet, that means local area network. For example, in our college, we have a local area network. So twisted pair cables are used for making a wired LAN. And data rates for Ethernet products, they are typically in the range of 100 Mbps to 1 Gbps, and the most commonly they are used for the LAN also. Emerging twisted pair cables Ethernet technology, these can support up to 10 gigabits per second also. So they are used for the Ethernet more commonly. Twisted pair is much less expensive than other used guided transmission media, which is the coaxial cable and the optical fiber cable, and it is easier to work with. So the advantage of twisted pair cable is it is quite cheaper than the other two cables, which is the coaxial cable and the fiber optical cable. Second advantage is it is easier to be installed, but the disadvantage is it is more highly prone to the attenuation, because more number of repeaters have to be used when we are using the twisted pair cable. So this is one of the disadvantage of the twisted pair cables. Moving ahead, transmission characteristics. So transmission characteristics, we are going to talk about the transmission characteristics of the twisted pair cables. For if we are using the twisted pair cable for transmitting the analog data, for transmitting the digital data. Twisted pair cable may be used to transmit both analog and digital data. For analog signals, amplifiers are required for after every 5 to 6 kilometers because these cables are prone to attenuation. They suffer high attenuation and high attenuation. For digital transmission, repeaters are required for every 2 to 3 kilometers. Basically, amplifiers and repeaters are the same. Amplifiers, they amplify the strength of the signal, and repeater regenerate the strength of the signal. So if we are using the twisted pair cable for the digital transmission, we need a repeater after every 2 kilometer to 3 kilometer, and if we are using it for a analog transmission, we need amplifier after every 5 to 6 kilometer. Why? Because they are more prone to interference and noise. That's why we need to use it. Compared with other, when we compare this twisted pair cable with other guided transmission media such as coaxial cable and fiber optic cable, twisted pair cable is limited in distance, bandwidth and the data rate. Attenuation for a twisted pair cable is very strong function of frequency, and the twisted pair cable is also more prone to the signal reflections or return of loss. These are some of the disadvantages caused by impedance mismatches along the length of the transmission line. Then the twisted pair cables, they usually run separately from cables transmitting AC power in order to comply with the local safety codes when they are installed in the buildings. Also, when we are using it for point-to-point analog signals, twisted pair cables can offer a bandwidth of up to 1 megahertz, and this can accommodate a number of voice channels. And if we are using twisted pair cables for a long distance digital point-to-point communication, data rates of up to few megabits per second are possible. Ethernet data rate of 100 Gbps is possible and can be achieved over 100 meter of twisted pair cabling. So moving ahead. Now, twisted pair cables, they are of two types. So twisted pair, we have two types cables, UTP and STP. Twisted pair cables, they are of two types, UTP and STP. UTP stands for unshielded twisted pair. STP stands for shielded twisted pair. So unshielded twisted pair and shielded twisted pair, what is the difference between them? As the name suggests, unshielded twisted pair, it consists of one or more twisted pair of cables which are enclosed in a semiconductor or a thermoplastic jacket which provides no electromagnetic shielding. And the most common form of commonly use of untwisted pair cable is the voice grade telephone wire. The analog telephones which are used in our homes, they use the UTP cables, which is pre-wired in residential and the office buildings. The phones that we normally use for communication, they use the UTP cables. For data transmission purpose, if we are using it for data transmission, UTP from voice grade to a very high speed cable for LANs. And for high speed cable LANs, UTP has 4 pair of wires inside the jacket, and with each pair twisted with a different number of twists. So it can be used with a telephone wire, it can be used for the Ethernet. If it is used for Ethernet, normally it has 4 pairs of the wires which are twisted together to each other. Another advantage is it's cheapest, it's easier to install, but it suffers from the external electromagnetic interference. Now we come to the shielded twisted pair, which we call it as STP. Alright, as we know that unshielded twisted pair, they are more prone to the external electromagnetic interference and including the interference from the nearby twisted pair cables. So in an environment with number of sources of potential interference, shielded twisted pair may be the preferred solution. Why? Because UTP, they are more prone to the external electromagnetic interference. So shielded twisted pair cable, they may be the solution. Now shielded twisted pair cable, they have a metal braid or sheathing which reduces the interferences, and it provides better performance at higher data rates, but it is expensive than UTP and it is harder to handle because it's thick and heavy. That's why it is harder to handle. Now let's talk about near end crosstalk. So what is near end crosstalk? It is also known as next. So it applies to the twisted pair wiring system. It applies to the twisted pair wiring system is the coupling of the signal from one pair of the conductor to the another pair. So this is a coupling, means combining of signal from one pair to the conductors, or from one pair of the conductors to the another pair of the conductors. These conductors can be the metal pins in a connector, or they can be the pairs of wire in the cable. The near end refers to the coupling or the combining, or you can say they join with each other, that takes place when transmitting signal enters the link, couples back to the receiving conductor pair at the same end of the link. We can think of this as a noise introduced into the system. So higher the decibel loss values are better. So higher dB loss values are better. That is, greater next loss magnitude are associated with the less crosstalk noise. So what is near end crosstalk? It occurs when the transmitting signal enters the link and couples back to the receiving the pair. So between the wires, when the transmitting signal enters into the another pair and it couples back to the receiving pair. The meaning is near transmitted signal is picked up by the near receiving pair. So the signal that is transmitted from a wire, it is picked up by the next end receiving pair. This is called as the near end crosstalk or the next loss. So knowing more about signal and power relationship over here. So let's understand more about near end crosstalk or the next loss with the help of this figure. So this figure shows the relationship between the next loss and the insertion loss at a system. So how does the next loss or the near end crosstalk occurs? For example, let's say we have two systems. This is system B and this is and this is system A. A transmitted signal from system B. Let's assume that B transmits some signal. So a transmitted signal from system B. Now when a signal is transmitted, it is transmitted at some signal power. Let's assume the signal which is transmitted by system B, the power of this signal is PT. So the power of this signal is PT. Now this signal is received at system A with the reduced signal power of PR. So this signal is catched up or received by system A, and the signal that is received at signal A has a power of PR, where PR is less than PT. That means the power of the transmitted signal is always greater than the power of the reduced signal. So the signal is always reduced at a signal is always received at a reduced signal power. Now At the same time, we assume that system A is also transmitting a signal to system B. So A is also transmitting at a system time. And we assume that transmission is at the same transmit signal power. So when A is transmitting, we assume that it is transmitting at a signal power which is same with the transmitted signal of B, which is PT. So now what happened due to the crosstalk? What happens due to the crosstalk? A certain level of signal, because A is receiving a signal at the same time and A is transmitting a signal at the same time. So what happens? Due to the crosstalk? A certain level of signal from A's transmitter. So because it is receiving and transmitting at the same time, so certain level of signal from A's transmitter is induced on the receiving wire also. So certain power of the signal is induced on the receiving wire also. So let's assume that the signal that is transmitted on the received wire, the power of this signal is PC. So due to the crosstalk, a certain level of signal from A's transmitter is induced on the received wire pair at A, and the power level of this signal is PC. This is called as the crosstalk signal. B is transmitting, A is receiving, and A is also transmitting at the same time. Because A is receiving and transmitting at the same time, so because of this transmission, a certain level of power from this signal is a certain level from power of this signal gets transmitted to the receiving end also. This is called as the crosstalk signal. So here clearly we need to have the power of the received signal should be greater than the power of the PC, so as to intelligibly receive the intended signal, and greater the difference between this PR and PC, the better. So if it is smaller difference, there will be more crosstalk, but if it is greater difference, it will be better. So unlike insertion loss, next loss does not vary as a function of length of the link. Next loss is the end-to-end phenomena or end-to-end technique. So the next loss varies as a function of frequency, with the loss increasing as a function of frequency, which means that amount of signal power from the near end transmitter that couples over the adjacent transmission line increases as a function of frequency. So higher the frequency, higher will be the higher will be the next loss. So it varies as a function of frequency. Going to the next part. Now we are going to explore the second type of cable, which is the coaxial cable. Coaxial cable we understood in the previous slide. Let's just quickly go over its structure. It has the outer conductor, which is a braided shield. This is the outer conductor. Inner conductor is the solid metal. This is the inner conductor, and this is separated by a insulating material, and it is covered by a padding. So coaxial cable, like twisted pair cable, it consists of two conductors, but it is constructed differently to permit it to operate over a wide range of frequencies. It consists of a hollow outer cylindrical conductor which surrounds a single inner wired conductor. So it has an outer conductor and it has an inner conductor. The inner conductor is held in place by regularly spaced insulating rings or solid dielectric material, and the outer conductor is covered with the jacket of the shield, or a shield, which is the semiconductor material. A single coaxial cable has a diameter of from 1 to 2.5 centimeter, and coaxial cable can be used over longer distances, and they support more stations on a shared line rather than the twisted pair cables. So what are the applications? It is a versatile transmission medium. It is used in wide variety of applications. The most common used you might have seen in your homes. It is used in the telephone, especially in the cable TV. The one you might have seen the cables that are running into your TV port and into the cable and into the dish TV port which is installed at your home. They use the coaxial cable. So it is used in the television distribution. It is used in the long distance telephone transmission, short run computer system links, and local cable area networks. Coaxial cable is widely used for distributing TV signals to the individual homes cable TV. From its modest beginnings as the community antenna television, it designs to provide services to the remote areas. Cable TV carry dozens or even thousands of TV channels at range up to a few or 10 of kilometers. Coaxial cable has also been important for the long distance telephone network. Today it is facing increased competition from the fiber and the terrestrial, microwave and the satellite. Coaxial cable is commonly used for short range connections also between the devices. Using the digital signaling, coaxial cable can be used to provide high speed input output channels on the computer system. Alright, so moving ahead. Now we are going to talk about coaxial cable transmission characteristics. Coaxial cable is used to transmit both analog and digital signals. So from here it is visible. Coaxial cable has a frequency characteristic that are superior to those of twisted pair cable. So its frequency characteristics are much more better than that of twisted pair, and it can be used effectively at higher frequencies and data rates. Because of its structure, it is shielded concentric construction. Coaxial cable is less prone to interference and crosstalk than the twisted pair. So because of its construction, like it is shielded, it has concentric circles, so it is less prone to interference and crosstalk. But the most important constraint on the performance is attenuation, thermal noise and the intermodulation noise. So these are the three main important transmission impairments which are faced by the coaxial cable. The latter is present only when several channels or frequency bands are used on the cable. For long distance transmission of analog signals, amplifiers are needed every few kilometers with a closer spacing. And if higher frequencies are used, the usable spectrum for analog signal extends to 500 megahertz. For digital signal, repeaters are needed after every kilometer with a closer spacing is needed for the higher data rates. Continuing next with the optical fiber cable. So let's discuss about optical fiber cable. Optical fiber, it is a thin flexible medium capable of guiding an optical ray. In the previous slides we have already discussed a structure. It is made up of glass or plastic core. It works on the principal light. It has a specially designed jacket and small size weight. So let's discuss in detail. An optical fiber strand, which is also called as optical waveguide, has a cylindrical shape. So it is made up of cylindrical shape and consists of three concentric sections. If you see, it is made up of three concentric sections. First, second and third. It is made up of three concentric sections. If you see from here, which is clad, outer is known as jacket, inner one, the center one is known as cladding, and the inner one is known as the core. So it is made up of three concentric sections: core, cladding and the buffer core, cladding and the buffer coating. Buffer coating is also called as jacket. Now what is a core? Core is the innermost section and consists of thin strands, very thin strands, which are made up of glass or plastic, and it has a diameter in the range of 8 to 62.5 micrometers. Then core is surrounded by cladding. This is cladding, which is also made up of glass or plastic coating that has optical properties different from those of the core, and it has a diameter of 125 micrometer. Interface between core and cladding acts as a reflector to confine the light or which would otherwise escape the core. The outermost layer, which is called as the jacket, the outermost layer is the buffer coating, which is a hard plastic coating that protects the glass from moisture and the physical damage. Optical fiber cable, they provide the protection to the fiber from stress during the installation and from the environment once it is installed. And the cable may contain from only 100 to 1 to the 100 fiber inside. Outermost layer of the cable surrounding one or bundle of fibers is the jacket. So this is the outermost layer. Jacket is composed of plastic and other materials which protect the wire against moisture, abrasion, crushing and other environmental dangers. Optical fiber cables, they are used in long distance telecommunication, in the military applications. They are continuing improvements in performance and decline in prices. They are advantages of optical fiber, and it has made it increasingly attractive for the local area network also. So performance, price and advantages have made it more popular to make the use of optical fiber cables nowadays. Some of the benefits that we are going to discuss now for the optical fiber cables are: first is the greater capacity. It can carry the data at the higher data rate, that means hundreds of Gbps data it can carry per second. So it can be faster. If a cable offers a higher data rate, that means it's faster cable. So the potential bandwidth data rate of optical fiber is immense. So it offers hundreds of Gbps over 10 kilometers, and that's why it is more advantageous to use. Second thing is smaller size and lighter weight. Optical fibers, they are thinner than the coaxial or the twisted pair cable for the twisted pair cable, and it also reduces the structural support requirements. So this is also one of the most important for cramped conduits in buildings and underground along the public rights of the way. The advantage of small size is considerable. Third point is lower attenuation. Optical fibers, they face very lower attenuation. If you can recall from the previous slides, we need repeaters with the optical fibers after up to 50 or 60 kilometers. So less number of repeaters are required. Attenuation is significantly lower for optical fiber than for the coaxial or the twisted pair cable. Next is electromagnetic isolation. Optical fiber cables, they are not affected by external electromagnetic fields like impulse, noise or crosstalk. So the system is not vulnerable to interferences. By same token, fibers do not radiate energy, so there is little interference with other equipment too. But they high degree of security. They offer high degree of security also. There is high degree of security from eavesdropping. That means they offer high degree of security. No one can tap into your conversation. Fiber is inherently difficult to tap. Last one is the greater repeater spacing. This is what we discussed in the previous slide also. Fewer repeaters are required and at larger kilometers. So fewer repeaters means cost is lowered and fewer sources of errors. So performance of optical fiber system from this point of view has been steadily improving. Repeater spacing in tens of kilometers for optical fiber is common, and repeater spacing for hundreds of kilometers have been demonstrated. Whereas in coaxial and twisted pair systems, generally we have to use more kilometers and at a very small distances. 5 basic categories of application that have become important where the fiber optic cable is used nowadays. It is used in long haul trunks, it is used in metropolitan trunks, rural exchange trunks, subscriber loops, and in the local area network. So now we are going to discuss about the transmission characteristics of the optical fiber cable. So the transmission characteristics, it is based on the principle of total internal reflection to transmit the light, and it effectively acts as a waveguide for transmitting up to 10 to the power 14 to 10 to the power 15 Hertz. So this covers portions of infrared and visible spectra also in the unguided communication. Light sources which are used with the optical fiber cable are LED, LED and ILD. LED stands for light emitting diode. It is cheaper, it operates over a greater temperature range, and it lasts longer. The another type of light source used is the injection laser diode. It is more efficient and it has the higher data rates also. So going there, next, what are the transmission modes for the optical fiber cable? An optical fiber cable can be operated in 3 modes. First is the step index mode, next is the graded index mode, and last one is the single mode. We are going to discuss these 3 modes now. So let's first discuss what is step index multi-mode. Now, light from a source, when it enters the cylindrical glass or the plastic core, light from any source when it enters the plastic core, rays at shallow angles, they are reflected and propagated. Some of them they are reflected, some of them they travel. They are propagated along the fiber. Other rays are absorbed by the surrounding material. Some of the rays are absorbed by the surrounding material. So this form of propagation is called as the step index multimode, referring to the variety of angles that it reflects, because some of the rays they travel, some of the rays they reflected back, some of the rays they are absorbed. So it is called as step index multimode. This is called as step index multimode, and this type of mode is used for transmission over very short distances. So this type is used when we want to transmit the data over the shorter distances. Next we come to the single mode. If you can see, the light is traveling only in a one particular direction. So it is traveling in a straight line rather. When the fiber core radius is reduced, if you see, there is a difference between there is a gap between the radius, but the radius of the core, it has very smaller radius. When the fiber core radius is reduced, fewer angles will reflect. By reducing the radius of the core to the order of the wavelength, only a single angle or mode can pass. So only a single angle, all the waves can pass only at a single angle, the axial ray. So this is called as the single mode propagation. It provides superior performance because of the following reason: because the rays only travel in the single transmission path. So with the single mode transmission, the distortion found in multimode cannot occur, and they are used for the long distance applications, including the telephone and the cable television. So last one is the graded index. So finally, by changing the index of refraction of the core, a third type of transmission, which is called as the graded index multimode, is possible. This type is intermediate between the two, the step index and the single mode. The higher refractive index at the center makes the light rays, if you see, moving up, down, and the axis, they advance more slowly near the cladding. So rather than zigzagging, light in the core curves, light in the core curves helically because of the graded index. So graded index, they are often used in the local area networks. That means your local area networks, the network connections. So this was all about the mode of the optical fiber transmission. Moving ahead. Alright, so previously asked question, which one is better? So going ahead with the next slide. So which one optical fiber mode is better? When we are selecting single mode fiber or the multi-mode fiber, the most important thing is to consider the distance requirement. If we are planning to install for the communication within the data center, it is more important to use the multi-mode fiber, because it can get you up to 300 to 400 meters. And connecting over the longer distance, single mode fiber can easily help you to connect the devices up to 10 kilometer, 40 or more than that. But even the prices have to be considered. The transmission cost of multi-mode fiber, including both transmitter and receiver, they are in the range of $500 to $800, and the transmission systems designed for the single mode fiber, they typically cost more than $1,000. Also, single mode fiber and multi-mode fiber, they are not compatible. We cannot mix them, and the optics are not compatible either. Another important disadvantage, the two most important disadvantages of optical fiber are, although it offers many advantages like higher speed, higher data rates, but the most and it is lighter in weight also, but the most important disadvantages, first of all, it's quite costlier. Second thing is the installation also requires specialized people, specialized equipment, so installing optical fiber is also not easy. Third thing is installation also need a carefulness, because as it is made up of the glass material, the optical fiber can break up easily while we are installing it. So we will stop over here up to the guided media. This completes our guided media, which includes all the three types of cables. Twisted pair cable, coaxial pair cable, and the fiber optic cable. Now for the unguided media, it will be covered in the next part of my lecture. So thank you so much.